Production funding for Making It Up North is provided by the citizens of Minnesota through the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund.
In the pit with the water, the red rock, and then to see the colors of the sun as it rises, there's really nothing like that.
It just makes my heart sing.
Reactions are priceless.
To take an old iron ore pit and turn it into a great mountain bike trail system is just great.
We're 30 West Fitness and Recreation, so we're just kind of putting our arms around that and trying to make it the best thing for Chisholm and the Iron Range as we can.
Chisholm's going through a revitalization period, and that's exciting. Something to get behind.
It's fun to see people breathing life into old buildings or businesses that are new that haven't been here before, and it's starting to happen, and it's happening in Chisholm.
It's to me like a paradise right on the Iron Range. Hey everybody, it's Candace from 30 West Fitness and Recreation. I am up here at the Redhead Mountain Bike Park. I just want to encourage you, if you are a woman and you love to ride or you want to try it for the first time, please come.
Got it.
This could go down in the history books, you guys.
Yeah.
First women's group ride at Redhead.
I'm going to do one more on my
You never
camera.
know. Mountain biking is not something that we've had a lot of around here, so I think there are many women who are interested in it, but they've never tried it, and they might be a little scared to go on their own. And so to have a group might draw more people. You get confidence, it builds community, and I mean, today we're gonna have people from the cities coming for this. And Deb, what is your timeline? I mean, how long do you want? Okay, yeah, cool. We'll start with the green and see how we feel. Sounds good? Hopefully you guys ate your Wheaties today. The feeling of it, the look of it, the red on your shoes and the red on your mountain bike tires and the red on your legs. You cannot ride out here without getting some amount of red dirt on you. We've done a hashtag get a little iron in your blood because you will. There's, figuratively you'll get excited about it, but also physically you get it on your body, and there's a kind of a cool appeal to that. This is my first season mountain biking. Nice. I'm from Idaho.
Oh!
Never mountain biked out there.
Wow!
Yeah.
Now you're like, I want to go back to do that.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
it's
I love
addicting.
it. Yeah, it really is addicting. Okay, how'd that go? That was very good. Pretty hilly one. There's no real mountains. I mean, lots of trees and things like that, but we do have these man-made mountains that comes from our iron mining past. And when I moved here from Idaho, that's one of the biggest things I noticed. They're obviously not high towering peaks, with trees and things like that, but you do get eventually growth of trees on them. I think they're beautiful. I'm just excited to see how this will grow the mountain biking culture here and support Chisholm. Who knows what the future will hold. Maybe we'll have, I keep saying we're gonna have a women's mountain bike gang, so we'll see how that goes, but that's my goal.
Well, I think it brings a new audience to the Iron Range, and it also gives people a new quality of life in their own back door and more to explore that they've never seen before that's been hiding in this beautiful landscape. Right here, we're right within kind of at the water level of the mine pit. There's 5 mine pits that converge together, and from here you can kind of see from a vantage point that was never open to the public before. See all the different geology and the landscapes and where the water meets the iron ore and the tree lines. It's really magnificent and beautiful here. I'm Donna Johnson. I'm the Executive Director of the Minnesota Discovery Center, and we serve as the trailhead to the Redhead Mountain Bike trails. So the Discovery Center we're first and foremost a museum, the biggest museum north of the Twin Cities. And then when people go to Ancestry.com, you're actually visiting our research center. We have, the entire state of Minnesota's birth records, death records, naturalization papers, just a ton of information. We do have a new exhibit on labor history, which we won, national awards for and kind of put us on the museum map. But then we have a lot on immigration and schools and what life was like back in the location days and early times. Right now we have the Carnival of Curiosities, kind of brought that archives out of our basement up above for people to explore. And we have Glen Location, which you take the trolley over to an old mining town and could see what life was like.
It was built on mining. They discovered iron ore here hundreds of years ago, and the town grew from mining. There are 3 businesses in town that started in 1905. And it's the First National Bank, which is owned by my brothers and I and a couple other investors. Casey Drug is also right across the street here. They're from 1905. And then the third one is Rupp Furniture. They're 3rd or 4th generation, also started in 1905. So those 3 businesses are all family owned, 3rd or 4th generation, and still on Main Street. I was born and raised here. I moved to Duluth, worked there for 20 years, and then I moved back and raising my family here now. My name is Mark Wangenstein. I am a banker here at First National Bank in Chisholm. I can walk Main Street and people tell me stories about my dad or my grandpa, and it's just it's enjoyable. I ride a lot and I go by the parking lot, just curiosity, and I count 15 to 20 cars at a time, and most of those people are from out of town and they're bringing outside money into our area. And I see a lot of the local businesses downtown here, the bars, the restaurants, the hotels are all busy with people with bikes on the back.
I think what makes a small business in a small town work is that we're so nimble on our feet. We're not some huge corporate structure. We're not getting the sales that somebody in Alabama thought should be on the shelf. I know these people on a personal level, and you feel that you can trust that that business owner or that pharmacist or whomever cares about you. Well, the story is, of course, that everyone leaves. They go to college, they leave, no one comes back, and it's just not true. So I'm Alita Casey. I work at Casey Drug as a pharmacist. I am one of the 5th generation pharmacists. I work with my brother, and I've been working there for about 10 years as a pharmacist, a lot longer before cleaning shelves as a kid. And now I live in town and work here and love it here. Mountain biking it just must be gaining in popularity. So of course with the Redhead Trail coming up, I'm on the bandwagon, and I've really enjoyed going there myself. I think it's very exciting. I think for so long we've had this really insular mindset that's focused just on mining and the ups and downs, and of course mining is our stronghold here, of course, but there's a lot more.
The Iron Range in general, people think of as this, these dying mining towns that, the mines are no longer in existence. Well, we have the opportunity to reclaim this and make it something huge.
There are many people here in Chisholm and the surrounding communities that have not experienced mountain biking, and so that will be something to learn. But my hope is that people will see the opportunity to really benefit from that, and that not just from a business or an economic standpoint, but that they themselves would see, wow, I can enjoy the beauty of the area where I live, I can be active, I can feel better, I can do it with other people, and just how it kind of strengthens so many things, you know, in their lives. That's my true hope, that they'll embrace it.
I can't tell you how many people this summer have said, how lucky are you to live there? Growing up here, you don't hear that much. You go to school and you hear, oh, you're from the range, you know, and those things, they're real. I mean, people do say that stuff, but I think people are recognizing what a gift we have in the area surrounding us, and people are taking advantage of that.
I grew up biking the pits, but they didn't look like they do now. I think it was probably 6 or 7 years ago I heard the idea that they wanted to build a single track mountain bike park behind Iron World. And I thought, wow, that's a wonderful idea.
We've got people in here who exercise every day. We've got people who are brand new to it, you know, and they can come in here and they can share it together. They're all at different levels.
Our desire is that people anywhere on their fitness journey would feel welcome here. There's young students who like to come, and we have a member who's 95 years old, and he comes sometimes twice a day to walk on the treadmill.
Really, our goal is to help people be active and to really enjoy being active.
It started really with Nick and Joel, the two guys at Church League Softball.
This building was for sale at the time.
We were out for dinner, my wife and I, and we just happened to walk by and saw that someone was in here, and the owner said, you know, I've got it for sale, I've got some people interested, and
Potentially it was going to get sold to be a smoke shop or a bachelor pad that they would just, some guy was going to put a bunch of motorcycles. I thought, this town deserves more.
And we just thought, you know, what about a recreational facility, something that Chisholm doesn't have?
And I grew up in Chisholm. I've always known about this building and thought it was kind of underutilized, at least in my day and age.
When we approached him with the idea of a gym and a recreation facility, he said, that's what I want. And here we are less than, you know, probably 3 years later with a fully functioning gym, and we're excited about the recreational opportunities, and yeah, it just keeps growing.
When they started building trails, we had meetings and we said, hey, we need to rearrange some of the priorities, and what would it look like if we had bike rentals?
None of the four of us have ever owned a business before, so there's a lot of learning that's taking place. But going back to the supportive community, people are so gracious with us as we learn these things, and hopefully that'll make new things in the future easier as we learn these little lessons.
I'm from the range. I grew up in Virginia. I had moved away for a while. I lived in Duluth, the Twin Cities, in southern Minnesota, but I'm a physical therapist.
I work in a mine. I have been in the control room at Monarca Mine for a few years. I have the power to start and stop very, very large pieces of equipment and communicate with my crew, with managers, engineers. I'm kind of the go-between.
He went to school for recreation leadership, and Redhead was never something back then that was going to happen. And so now, seeing that we're living in Chisholm, we are business owners, he works in the mine, and now this wonderful opportunity for him to really do something that he loves, we could have never imagined, ever.
You know, I remember times being here at 5 in the morning when Joel's off a full midnight shift and we're working on putting a light up in the entryway, and times where we meet up here at 9:30 at night, even though Joel's got to go to work at 5 in the morning because that's when the kids are down.
Yeah, there can be stressful times and decisions that need to get made, but we're friends before we're business partners, and we actively try to hang out. We'll have nights where we say, okay, we're not talking anything business related tonight. Let's just be friends.
We get along great, we trust each other. You know, we have different viewpoints and we can agree to disagree, but it's a great partnership for sure.
Guess where we are? At times it's, you know what, this isn't the priority of my life because my kids are and my family. You keep those things in line. I think they love to see that, you know what, we're just doing the best we can. There's 4 of us. So, you know, when I'm having the baby and, you know, Candace and Joel step up, if they're busy with something else, then Nick and I can step up, and that's what's great about not being all on one person's shoulders. So that's been huge.
We could have never imagined, ever. And so it's a huge blessing. We just feel so blessed. We're so excited that we get to be here. It really is kind of a dream come true.
When COVID happened, we didn't have a bike fleet. We had 2 trained mechanics and a bunch of tools. And so we had to get creative and we said, hey, what would it look like if we started tuning up bikes now?
So this Redhead Trail has been so interesting to see kind of flourish here. You know, our skills with being able to promote recreation in the area was just spot on.
Yeah, perfect world, we would have bike rentals on site at the Discovery Center. That's all I could say for now.
Obviously, you can see, you know, we're doing the bikes here in the gym, and we're running out of space, which I think is a good problem to have.
It's become even more than we realized because we're being able to not only serve the community with fitness, but some other really great recreational opportunities, and just different doors are opening all out of nowhere, which has been really fun to kind of see those doors open and go after them. Let's go.
I'm going to the
van. Come on.
Next summer in the spring, we will be working with 30 West out of Chisholm, and they'll be taking over this side of our admissions building with mountain bike rentals and repair right here on site. So I'm really excited that people will be able to come here, rent a bike, and go right straight onto the trail. We're getting all this new traffic right into our parking lot that we can really capture them and bring them in our doors and show them who we are, and to also bring the museum more into the landscape, and that landscape and that trail system back into our museum, and make it more of a cohesive connection. We can educate through bike tours, and then bike tours we can do signage, and then they want to come back and learn more, and it's that opportunity to enjoy and recreate and learn without even recognizing, I just learned about mining and I was riding a bike. People that have come back to the area after they've been gone for 30 years said they would have never imagined this in their backyard.
We are at the Redhead Mountain Bike Park just outside of Chisholm, Minnesota, behind the Minnesota Discovery Center.
I almost get emotional about it when I see these families, these moms, these kids, and and everybody else coming out here, cars going in and out, the activity, what it's going to mean for downtown Chisholm and small businesses. It just makes my heart sing.
Tonight is a group ride at the newly installed Redhead Mountain Bike Park, and it's not just important for us, but it's just continuing to bring awareness that there's such an amazing resource up on the range.
It's awesome. I mean, the views are unbelievable, just the flow, the technicality of the trails, being out in the woods, the cliffs, the lakes. I just love it. I can't get enough of riding out here.
It helps get our name out there and puts us back on the map, and then also we're kind of a pleasant surprise to riders who don't really know who we are to come and explore us too.
My hope and prayer is that the locals really embrace it, because it's something that could change the town. And the mines won't be around forever. And I know tourism isn't the ultimate answer. We need more business and industry on the range. but I think having amenities is the right start.
It's a great place anyway, but to see what's ahead, I think it has a really bright future, and I'm very excited to be a part of it. As a business owner, as a mom, with my kids here growing up, there just really isn't, to me, a better place to live.
And I think that people expand their thinking beyond, you know, we're a mining community and we need a few nice spaces for ourselves, and they start realizing we're a really fun little town and we are right by all these trails, all this wilderness. And so you start thinking of how you can kind of leverage that and maximize that to draw people into your community.
If we start with basic amenities like a fitness center, a recreation center, a mountain bike trail, I think it makes Chisholm a sweet place to live in a time like this, and then it makes Chisholm an attractive place to move to raise your family.